Hey guys, YouTube in their inspiration asked us to build videos related to AI pricing strategies, and what better pricing strategy than predicting the optimal price that an ASIN should have based on historical data. So that's the automation we're going to build today. What you see on the screen, me sharing with you, is a Google Sheet. What we will be doing is using Google Sheet as the input and output for this automation. The ASINs column will have one or more ASINs. I'm using two. The results sheet will be the dump, will be the output of the processing that our automation will go through. And of note is the suggested price, risk level, and a detailed reason that comes back from the piece of AI that we are using in our automation. I threw in some extra fields. What you can possibly do is, especially the date column, what you can do is schedule a cron job, run it daily or weekly, so you'll have a good set of analytical data to fall back upon once you run it often. So let me share with you what the actual automation looks like. So here's the automation that we will be building. Like I said, Google Sheets input, Google Sheets output, some interim processing. Let me kick it off, see if it works. Still works. Just make sure that we don't get any errors. Alright, cool. So it worked. So let's get into the nitty-gritty details of building our workflow. I'm going to call it AI powered pricing. You can call it anything you want. So like I said, we will be using the Google Sheets node. Now, if you have never integrated Google Sheets into n8n, it's pretty simple. Follow some instructions, click some buttons, and allow n8n access. If you can figure it out, drop a comment below, and I'll see if I can whip up a quick video for you. So what in this automation, we want to read the data from Google Sheets. So that's what I'm going to select. As you can see, the operation is get rows. I'm going to select my Google Sheet, ASINs to analyze, and within that I want to use the ASIN sheet. And next we will tell n8n where our data is. So we'll specify range rows. The header row in our sheet is the header, everything following it as the data. So let's see if it works. Okay, we got the input data that we need. I'm going to call it input data. Let's go back to the canvas. I'm going to move this to the left and probably shrink it a little bit. Then we will use the HTTP request node and call our Keepa API. The get action is fine. That's what we will be using, and we will be calling the product endpoint. We will be sending our keys. Let me copy my key. By the way, in one of my previous videos, I said that Keepa provides you a free API key if you sign up as an affiliate. That obviously is wrong, and I had dated information which was a few years old. I've always used Keepa beyond the initial test run. I have a paid account, so that's what I've been using. Initially, when I started, I did sign up as an affiliate to test drive the Keepa API. Obviously, they have grown too big, and they don't allow test keys anymore. So unfortunately, you will have to get a €15 version to using your workflows. So the next thing I'm going to do, I had a domain for Amazon US. Domain one is Amazon US for the Keepa API. The next thing we will be reading in the JSON from the previous, and we will be using this expression to get all the ASINs from the previous step to feed into Keepa. We also need the stats for the last 180 days. We need the history. We need the buy box prices. And also we also need the ratings. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, good. So we move on to the next step. The next step will be Keepa returns an ugly big JSON. So we need to be able to make some sense of it. For that purpose, I'm going to use a code node, and I'm going to throw in some code that I have previously written. Now, I had to struggle with this code because Keepa, when they send the data over to you in the response, it's a very complex object. It's arrays within arrays within arrays. So I had to spend a few hours getting this data right. And you will also see that I'm using source Keepa, and the reason is in the subsequent steps we will be merging the response from Keepa and GPT into one single object. That is the reason I added a JSON property called source, and I'm calling it Keepa just so that I can reference it in the subsequent steps. Okay, so we have this, let's call it parse Keepa response. Now let's go back to the canvas and add another HTTP node, HTTP request node. This time we will be calling our custom GPT, and the action will be post. So V1 chat completions, and we will be sending the authorization header. This is where your key will go. It's bearer space whatever key ChatGPT provides you. Let me copy that real quick. And we will be sending a raw body, and the content type will be application/JSON, and I will paste in the prompt that I use to return the data from GPT. Okay. Let's see if it works. Okay, cool. So now we have data from GPT. Now I am going to, like I mentioned, I'm going to throw in a merge node because I want to merge the code here. And I'm going to use the mode is combined, and we will be combining by position, and also we want to include any unpaired items. Okay, so that worked. Now the way I have my code written, let me move this up. The output of the Keepa response will go to input 1. So I'm going to input that here, and the output from GPT will go to node 2. I'm trying to see where my code is. Okay, I found it. So once this comes in, you have to take the data from these two data sets and combine it into one, so you can update your Google Sheets with. So that's what this code node will do. And if you want access to the code, just like, subscribe, and drop in a comment, and I will gladly share the code with you. And you want to run once for each item, because remember, what we are inputting from our Google Sheets is not one single ASIN, but a collection of ASINs. You'll see that the parse data is the response from Keepa, and GPT raw is the raw JSON. And basically I'm consolidating everything here so that I can push it to my Google Sheets. Okay, so final parse code. Let's go back and use Google Sheets node again, but this time we will append the data, and we will be appending it to ASINs to analyze, but this time we will be dumping it in results. Let's execute this step. Before we do that, you have to map columns manually, and also you have to specify an identity. In this case, ASIN will be unique to each row, and here all we're doing is specifying mapping, basically mapping the properties. And here we have ASIN.date, and here we have current price, and here we have average price, then lowest price, and the risk level, and finally the reason. Let's see if this works. Okay, so we are in business, and there you have it, guys. A fully working automation that uses GPT under the hood to come up with an optimal price for your ASIN. What you can do is take this optimal price, depending on your risk tolerance and whether you want to do it, take this price and update your ASIN. in Amazon and see how it works out. So that's about it in a nutshell. Like and subscribe, and drop in a comment below if you want the complete automation built with the code. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.